Hello, I'm Leanne Hadley. I'm sorry that the picture is so grainy tonight. I don't know. My lights are really dark in my house tonight. I don't know why. Anyway, I'm so glad that you're here at Pieta. Tonight, we're going to continue our journey through these 40 people that made a difference in the world by trusting in the light. And I want to begin with the prayer that we've been saying at my church and at Pieta. Not the Pieta prayer, but the prayer of light. So listen to this. We believe, O God, in the light of your love. We believe that the light shines in the darkness. We believe that darkness cannot extinguish the light. So we lay our prayers, fears, and doubts at your feet, trusting in the light to bring healing and wholeness and to shatter any and all darkness. Amen. So every one of the people that are in this booklet that we're reading together and looking at their lives have had some kind of darkness in their life. We're going to start with Clara Barton tonight. She worked in war-torn times, and it says that the times and the challenges that she faced could have felt like darkness, but she believed that every person deserved help and compassion. So it was her desire to help people who were wounded in war and needed her care. It was her desire to help them that really made the difference in her own ability to follow the light. And she worked in battlefields, in communities. She brought food, medicine, and hope to those in need. And later, she founded the American Red Cross. And you can imagine how that little spark of Clara Barton spread so far and so wide as she made the Red Cross. The second person that we want to look at tonight is Louis Braille, who was born in 1809. When he was first born, when he was 3 years old, he could see. And when he was 3 years old, he was blinded, an infection. He got injured in the eye. It turned into an infection. It spread to both eyes. And by the time he was 5 in 1814, he was completely blind. And, for many people, that was the end of the road. But he was such a person that wanted to learn. So he went to the Royal Institute for the Blind Youth in Paris, and he found this raised letter system, and he believed that he could make it better. He invented Braille, and many people went against him and said, "Oh, we don't need anything. We've already got this." But he was sure that this would be better. And it was actually after his death that the world recognized what a profound alphabet and reading style he had found. So it was really amazing. And I love what this booklet says. It says his life remained a testament to deeper truth, that light is not limited to the eyes. It can be followed with courage, imagination, and hope. And it's a beautiful story about Louis Braille. Ruby Bridges, you've probably heard of her. She's the first little girl that walked into a school to desegregate schools. And this little girl was 6 years old. And when I look at her little face, I mean, she's 6 years old. And she walked past people holding guns, yelling racial slurs, threatening to kill her. And when she got in the school, nobody would be in class with her, so she had to be in her own class. Thank God there was a teacher willing to teach her. And day after day, she went there, and she would pray for them. That's one of the ways that she coped with the horror of having to walk in and out of that school every day. And she never gave up, and her courage was amazing. One of our people in Pieta knows her, or met her at a workshop, and said that, at first she just seemed really normal, but then you realize that this forever and profoundly changed her. So really interesting. That could have gone two ways. Being that little and having to do such a big thing, that could have really done you in. Or it makes you strong. And for Ruby, it made her strong. So I love her story and her courage and the way she trusted in the light of love and prayer to get through that. The next person is Cesar Chavez. And he worked with unpaid, low-paid workers in unsafe conditions. And there were moments when the landowners resisted his change. Of course, he was messing up their economic system, much like when the slaves were freed in America. But he just kept going and going. And again, he believed in nonviolence. And that's a really hard thing to do when people are pushing you around and saying ugly things and hurting other people, especially people you believe in. But he just kept through it. He persevered, and he created lasting change for generations to come. Bessie Coleman. I love this story. She grew up in a loving family, but segregation was part of her life. It limited her opportunities. And she was a young Black woman in the 1900s, and she faced unfair treatment in school, work, and daily life because she was Black. She dreamed of becoming a pilot, and every school in the United States rejected her. Every flight school rejected her because she was Black and because she was a woman. And many people believed that Black people, women, didn't have the intelligence to fly an airplane. So instead of letting that stop her, she went to France. She learned French, she traveled to France, and she earned her pilot's license in 1921. And it kind of showed us that discrimination, hatred, it cannot stop you if you follow your dreams. She's so inspiring. So that's Bessie Coleman, who lived in the 1920s and became a pilot. That's amazing. The last person for tonight is Marie Curie, who in 1867, Poland was stripped of its freedom, and she continued to work and to see light where others saw darkness. So her world was marked by loss. Her mother died when she was just 11, and she held on to the belief that knowledge and truth and goodness were worth pursuing. And she did that, even though she left home to study in Paris, and she was hungry, she was cold. Nobody would hire a woman to work in their science establishments and in their schools. She finally got married, and that helped her to gain notoriety. But even then, her husband was receiving the awards that she also had jointly worked on, and so it was hard. But eventually, she uncovered substances that literally glowed in the dark, which led to the development of so many science things that we have today, including X-rays. So she did a really great job. Her husband died. It sent her into a time of terrible grief, and she managed to get through that day after day after day. And she went on and continued her work as a scientist. It was a really difficult time. She died of radium poisoning. And her daughter went on to be an X-ray technician working in the war. And some of the first X-rays saved so many lives during that war. And she would travel from place to place with her X-ray machine. And now today, we see the benefits of X-ray and the things that can be found and just the lives that are saved. So these are the people tonight that I want you to look back at. There's Marie Curie, Bessie Coleman, Cesar Chavez, Ruby Bridges, and Louis Braille, and Clara Barton. So ponder these people tonight and see if there's a theme that jumps out at you or something, because look, life is going to be dark, and these stories are going to be things that we can remember and lives that we can remember, and it is inspiring to think these people made it through their dark times. We can make it through whatever darkness we need to face. So these are really important stories for us to contemplate and to learn from. So enjoy the discussion, and thank you for being here tonight. I'll see you soon.